Good morning, Lourdes. How are
Good
you?
morning.
How are you today?
Terrific. How are you?
I'm great. Excited about our conversation today. So,
Yes,
uh, yeah, so it's going to be a little bit more casual, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about why coaching matters and our stories and insights on the benefits of coaching. Because obviously we're doing this because we feel very passionate about it, and I think that we just want to convey that and maybe allow you to see who we are, why we started to come into coaching, and why we love it so much, and what we think the benefits are. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, in terms of for me, I've always been into psychology. I've always been into self-help books and, self-development. 2018 was an especially difficult year for me. And I went into therapy, and I had a great therapist, and he helped me with the issues that I was dealing with. I'm not going to go into details. And at some point, he actually started to refer to me as doctor. And based on the conversations, the level of the conversations that we were having in terms of what I was bringing to the table from the materials that I had read and delved into myself. Then shortly after, I worked with a coach on an issue that I wasn't able to really address with my therapist. It just, certainly we did work on it, but I wasn't making headway. It was still
Mm-hmm.
there. It was still like lingering and pestering me. And then I worked with a coach, and the work that I did with her was so effective that that's when I decided, you know what, this feels like a match to me, and it also felt very much in alignment with my feeling that I wanted to live more on purpose and fulfill a mission of not only being happy myself but helping other people to be happy. And so that's when I made the decision to get into coaching and really see the value in being able to help people in a way that is different
Mm-hmm.
than going to therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, most definitely. It's I find that coaching and all the different modalities that I know you and I share with the that therapy, I think, of course, has its place, but I think that a lot of people would benefit from coaching. I know that I did because I also love. I've always loved reading case studies, and I've always loved reading psychology. And I've always been looking for something and trying to gain some knowledge about my own inner conflicts. And when I realized that the conflict the that I was up against was my own thinking, the own landscape that I had created in my mind, I wanted to start breaking free. And the more I got into it, the more I realized that I wanted to take everyone with me, that I wanted us all to gain the freedom that I was progressively getting closer to. And I'm not saying I'm entirely free, but I am freer than I was when I first started. And I think that when we realize that the road is not out there, it's inside. And when we start looking at ourselves, we start to learn to breathe. We start to feel the peace that we live inside of ourselves, that the world is not dangerous, um, especially here, but the world is not as dangerous outside as it is inside. The worst neighborhoods I've been to are the neighborhoods in my mind. And I'm creating these moments of terror myself. I'm creating my own anxiety. I'm fighting a future that doesn't exist. And I'm also struggling with a past that doesn't exist either. And so when I realized that the only choice was to gain my own freedom from the constraints in prison that I was the guard and the keeper of the keys, that I had my own power to gain that. And I want everybody to know, listen, freedom is in your hands, because you are also the guard, and you are the master key holder. And I'm not saying that the journey is entirely pleasant, because in some cases we have to revisit, and I had to revisit things that I wasn't proud of, things that I didn't like, regrets, resentments, rejection, that I had to revisit, but progressively less and less, because what I realized is that I could let go of the emotion. The more I let go of the emotion, the more freedom I was gaining. And that's why I got into coaching, because I want people to understand there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are just holding on to a misidentification of who you are based on the conditioning that you experienced as a child, because it all goes down to those decisions that you made when you were basically in an alpha state, where you're just taking everything in and trying to survive, because that's just the nature of our evolution, right? And so what I'm saying is, I got into coaching because I feel like, hey, listen, you want to call it limiting beliefs? The only belief you need to get over is the misidentification that you have of who you are for yourself. And once you empower yourself, and yeah, there are skills, there are tools that will help you along the way. And I think both you and I are more about, hey, I don't want to see you for the rest of my life or the rest of my career. I want to see you for a short period of time. And I want to give you and show you that the resources that you need are within you. You have the resources. I'm just showing you where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So much of what we help with, well, what I help with is that shift in perspective, that changing your story, changing the narrative, and
Yeah.
discarding those limiting beliefs, those that you've built a story around the circumstances that occurred to you that maybe you didn't have any choice in, but yet you've built an entire narrative around it. And now you identify as a player in that story, but you don't need to anymore.
Correct.
And that's part of the freedom that I believe you're referring to, is learning how, if you're your own jailer, then you can set yourself free.
100%.
Many 100%. Times that is the case. We are our own jailers.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Nice getting to know you.
Well, and as a little bit of a bonus, we have a little bit more of a getting to know you exercise. We're taking a page out of Bernard Pivot's questionnaire that he used to use in interviews, and Maria and I are going to ask each other some questions and answer them as a way to just share a little bit more about ourselves and who we are, right?
Right. Awesome. All right. So let me ask you the first question. What is your favorite word?
That's so easy for me. Okay. Love is the word that I first think of. Heart is my favorite shape. I feel so much can be ameliorated with coming from a place of love and an open heart. So
Oh,
I would say my favorite word is love. What about you?
wow. I also love the word love, and I agree with you 100%. But I I think that I'm favoring the word freedom a lot, because I just think that when we can live in freedom, I think that we get to enjoy all of the other beautiful things that exist, all the other beautiful emotions like love and grace and forgiveness and compassion. So I like freedom.
Lovely.
That's my favorite word, freedom.
And let's see, what sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of rain. I just love it. I just love it. And I think that as many people do, I think that certain sounds, just like certain smells, bring us back to a moment where we had a strong emotion. And the rain always reminds me of being young, being at home with my parents and my siblings, and because it was raining, nobody could go out. But I love the sound. I always find a lot of comfort in the sound of rain. Yeah. I love the rain.
Wonderful.
How about you? What's your your favorite sound or noise?
The sound, well, I would say the sound of children's laughter.
Oh, nice.
And certainly the memory of my own daughter's laughter. But like laughter in general too, like the sound of children's laughter is really lovely and delightful, and I enjoy that. And my daughter's laughter, and they're not children anymore, but just laughter in general. I love the sound of laughter, the joyful, expansive release and beauty of laughter.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right.
What about you? Oh, we already did yours. Sorry.
Rain, Lou, rain. The rain.
You hypnotize me with the rain, Maria. I just kind of like.
I live in the perfect place too, because it rains a lot in Florida. Okay, and so our last question is, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I really lean into mindfulness, meditation. I also have a chanting practice that is my, it's a practice that I engage in twice a day. And it really helps to center me. And also, like, in the state of chanting, it's such an open, expansive state for me. Like, I get all kinds of creative ideas, and it's uplifting. And if I'm troubled or having a hard time, I can chant and shift myself out of a state and into a better state. It just, I would have to say, my go-to is chanting for all three of those, creatively, spiritually, and emotionally. What about yourself?
Nice. Well, I definitely, I love the power or the empowerment of meditation. It just is there's such great freedom and expansion in it. And I love that subconscious emergence, that aha moment that I see in people when they crack open, when they realize that they can be free. I love that. I love when people feel loved when you could see it in their eyes that they you know, those basic emotions, those the basic needs that we have of being seen and heard and validated. And when somebody gets that, and I could see it in their eyes that they feel it, it just flows through them. That just makes me so happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that it's also that, I don't know, for me, it's like coupled with like, I mean, you use the word aha moment, right?
Right.
But it's like it's a breaking open, it's a realization, a relief,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. It's like a breath that you finally took a breath, that you finally like, it's liberating. It's just liberation. It's freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. The recognizing that all of that includes me,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this has been fun.
Quite the departure from our usual conversation.
Right. Right. All right. Well, thanks again, Lourdes. Thank you for the opportunity. I love those questions. And I really like that. I like that you asked those questions. So it was it moved me, and you know, I feel fantastic. I feel fantastic. So thank you.
Well, it's interesting because I mean, they were simple questions, right? But really kind of delving into matters that are at the same time revelatory and very intimate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you. That was great. That was fun. So again, anyone who wants to reach out, needs a little coaching, wants some support, we are here, we're available, and you know, we wish everybody the best because you deserve it.